1,000 years ago, the world was shaken by the invasion of terrible monsters from the abyss. In its darkest hour, a last hope appeared for desperate humanity. The mysterious obelisks granted the chosen ones the power to resist the darkness. At the cost of incredible sacrifices and countless battles, people were able to defend their world. Now, every year, new fighters are chosen from the obelisks, ready to meet the threat. But even after centuries, the monsters do not sleep and wait for their moment in the darkness. The future of the world depends on the strength of a new generation ready to accept its destiny. The instructor announces the beginning of the ceremony on which their entire future life depends. It doesn't matter who they become, because the heavy burden of defending the homeland will fall on the shoulders of each one. The young man dreams of awakening, not yet knowing what trials await him. The arrogant guy mocks the naivety of the newcomers, because the path of a warrior is not open to everyone. The bullies notice Lin Tianhao, the school's biggest loser, and are already anticipating his failure. The guy calmly awaits his fate, because he has entered this world and is ready for any surprises. A friend encourages the young man, but he confidently declares his ambitious plans for the S-class. Lin Tianhao's dream of becoming a high-class citizen is laughed at by the whole crowd, who consider him a pathetic loser. His potential was indeed assessed as low, but a stubborn light burns in the hero's eyes. Despite everything, the young man is determined to change his destiny in this new world. The tension is mounting as students in one of the classes are already being called onto the stage for a wake-up call. The first to take the stage is Wandong, one of those who constantly bullied the main character. Wandong casts a disdainful glance at the young man, promising to show him what he is capable of. Wandong steps onto the platform, and in just 5 seconds, his future fate will be decided. A bright flash of energy envelops his body, heralding the birth of a new warrior. He awakens as a fighter, and his triumphant cry echoes throughout the square. Rank C is already a good start for someone who wants to become a worthy defender. The new status opens the door to the guild for the guy, promising fame and a secure future. The girls whisper in admiration, because now Wandong has become an enviable match. Having gained power, the bully immediately rushes to humiliate Lin Tianhao, reveling in his luck. A gang of hooligans surrounds the hero, celebrating the success of their leader and mocking him. The young man only mentally grins at their complexes, preparing to find out his own class. The whole company gloats, anticipating the shameful failure of the school's main loser. Finally, Lin Tianhao's name is heard, and he boldly steps out to meet his destiny. Before the awakening stone, the guy only hopes for any combat class to change his life. Touching the cold stone releases a powerful flow of golden energy. A bright light blinds the young man, giving him hope that he will no longer be a loser. The ceremony's host is in shock, as such a powerful reaction from the obelisk is incredibly rare. She announces his class as Summoner, the most useless of all. The crowd erupts in laughter, as Lin Tianhao could not have failed any worse. But suddenly the system announces the link between the Abyssal Lord status and the SSS class talent. Now, every 10 levels, the hero will receive a random talent of the highest rank. The young man is stunned, because he is the only one who knows about his hidden incredible power. Lin Tianhao realizes that by level 100 he will possess 10 incredible talents. The system grants him the first SSS class skill, Sacrifice to the Demon. This dark power allows summoned creatures to be transformed into hellish creatures. The price of power is high, a constant sacrifice of one's own health. Now his main goal is to increase his stamina, since the strength of his summoning depends on it. Even now, the guy's health reserve is enough to give his creature a huge boost. The presenter tries to cheer up the young man, not knowing that a future legend stands before her. He thanks her calmly, because his confidence is based on a secret known only to him. Those around him had already written him off, since the summoner class was considered a dead end. The hero leaves, hiding a grin, because his journey is just beginning, and he will prove everyone wrong. Lin Tianhao leaves the ceremony determined to become the greatest summoner in history. At home, he is met by his worried sister, to whom he tells his disappointing grade. The girl is in despair, because the reputation of summoners in this world is as bad as it gets. The sister promises to protect her brother when she wakes up, but he only kindly ruffles her hair. The young man confidently reassures his sister, as his true strength still remains his secret. She takes offense at his patronizing tone as he goes to his room. An unexpected message about the gathering of the awakened intrigues the guy, foreshadowing new events. Meanwhile, the school is summing up the results, mentioning the only summoner with disdain. The hooligans never miss a chance to gloat, believing that Lin Tianhao got what he deserved. However, one of the mentors sees something more in this and decides to help the young man with a rare book. Lin Tianhao gratefully accepts the book from the teacher who was the only one who believed in him. The dusty tome in the boy's hands only confirms how rare and forgotten his class is. All awakened ones are gathered for the first test, which will reveal their true potential. A stern mentor initiates a test on which the future of each student depends. The first to enter the arena is a self-confident magician, eager to demonstrate his power. His ice attack shows decent results, setting the bar for the rest of the participants. Wandong easily outshines everyone, reveling in his status as the best rookie. It's Lin Tianhao's turn, and his biggest enemy is ready to enjoy his humiliation. The young man approaches the target, hoping only for a miracle, because he doesn't even know how to use his power. But at the moment of its preparation, something incredible happens, shocking everyone present. An incredible vortex of energy leaves the crowd wondering what kind of powerful creature he has summoned. But instead of a menacing beast, a cute slug appears, causing the hooligans to burst into hysterical laughter. Even Lin Tianhao himself was shocked, because his first summoned creature was this harmless drop. The slime's stats are dismal. A measly 9 attack points are incapable of causing any harm. The guy is disappointed, because such a pet is only good for tickling and not for serious fights. The test result is predictable. A humiliating 9 appears on the scoreboard to general laughter. A teacher tries to awkwardly encourage a student who is now being ridiculed by the entire school. But the young man does not give up and, clenching his fists, asks to give him one more, last chance. It's time to use your secret trump card, the SSS rank skill demon sacrifice. The young man does not hesitate to sacrifice part of his health in order to show the world his true strength. Before the eyes of the stunned crowd, the harmless slug turns into a bloody demon. Its stats skyrocket, turning the cute creature into a killing machine. Lin Tianhao coldly points at the target, and his new creation takes off. A powerful blow of demonic slime shakes the meter, leaving deep cracks in it. The faces of the hooligans and teachers are distorted with horror and complete incomprehension of what is happening. An incredible 120 points is a result that shatters all previous records. Wandong can't believe his eyes as his best result was simply destroyed. Even the chief instructor is shocked, because such a result exceeds the performance of legendary warriors. The crowd immediately explodes with accusations of fraud, not believing in the honesty of such a jump. But the hero just looks at them calmly, because he didn't tweak anything, but simply revealed his true potential. Lin Tianhao looked at the teacher calmly, because he had nothing to hide and he didn't cheat. The mentor announces an equipment failure, confirming that the incredible result was real. Wandong refuses to believe in defeat, because such a worthless person simply could not surpass him. The crowd demands that the first failure be counted, trying to deprive the hero of his triumph. The teacher, seeing the injustice, annuls the test and gives Lin Tianhao a second chance. But the envious people do not calm down, accusing the mentor of openly patronizing the loser. The head instructor puts an end to the charade, canceling all tests until the equipment is repaired. Wandong challenges the hero, promising that even a second chance will not turn a chicken into a phoenix. The arrogant bully goes into the dungeon, dismissively throwing away thoughts of his rival. But the young man only grins, because the black abyss is the perfect place to test his new strength. The technicians examine the smoking machine in shock, unable to believe that the student could have broken it. One of the workers looks at the dent, amazed at the power that could only belong to a genius. On the street, a mysterious old man approaches Lin Tianhao, praising him as the ideal summoner. This flattery seems suspiciously familiar to the guy, as if he had fallen into the trap of a street vendor. The old man offers him to buy a new magic wand for only 300 gold pieces. The young man is furious, because this price for an ordinary piece of wood seems like a real robbery to him. The cunning merchant assures that this is a special price, and he would sell it to someone else for 10 times the price. Taking the stick in his hands, the hero feels how it fills his body with an unknown power. He understands that equipment for a rare class of summoner is a priceless find. The old man smiles contentedly, because he already knows that the deal is almost in his pocket. Lin Tianhao falls into despair, because his wallet only contains 92 gold coins, a paltry sum. With hope in his voice, the boy tries to beg the old man for a discount on the priceless artifact. The merchant unexpectedly agrees, but accepts money only as a deposit. To obtain the stick, the young man must travel to the Black Abyss and bring back a valuable item. The hero realizes that he has received his first quest, and the old man hands him a mysterious map. Without giving him time to come to his senses, the merchant forces him to sign an IOU with his fingerprint. The old man sends the stunned guy away, reminding him of the inviolability of their strange deal. One of the teachers greets the merchant with respect, calling him Elder Fan. The mentor wonders what such an important person needed from an ordinary student. The young man overhears their conversation and understands that his path as a summoner will not be easy. Elder Fan watches the young man with a sly smile, knowing what a difficult path lies ahead of him. Lin Tianhao arrives at the entrance to the Black Abyss, located in a harsh and cold valley. The huge and frightening portal to the first-level dungeon evokes mixed feelings in the hero. Having studied the rules, the guy understands that he cannot enter alone, because a team of 3 people is needed. The young man's gaze falls on the reward for first place. A powerful golden armor for beginners. The massive health bonus from the armor is exactly what his secret talent needs. But his thoughts are interrupted by another bully, who recognizes him as the school's biggest loser. The hero just glances at them wearily, not understanding why everyone cares about him. Another group of adventurers joins in the taunts, advising the summoner to go plant radishes. With a cold rage in his eyes, Lin Tianhao advises them to take better care of themselves. Wan Dong scoffs at the hero's loneliness, confident that no one would go on a raid with a useless class. The loud announcement of recruitment to the group immediately stirred up the crowd of frightened newcomers. Weak players see a strong warrior as their only chance for salvation and are willing to do anything for a place on the team. Each one vies with each other to praise their skills, desperately begging to be taken under their safe wing. The bully casually chooses his companions, like a master pointing out the slaves he likes. The newly formed retinue flatters their leader, demonstratively ignoring the summoner standing nearby. A girl from Wan Dong's team brazenly announces plans to set a new speed record. The leader makes a terrifying threat to the newcomers, promising death to anyone who dares to become a burden. Lin Tianhao watched them with a cold-blooded gaze, predicting the imminent death of this arrogant gang. The guy decides to complete the dungeon without making a single mistake, because he simply doesn't have the money for resurrection. Lin Tianhao opens his profile, and his S-rank talent shines, still invisible to others. Players notice the high rank, but immediately turn away because the useless summoner class ruins everything. Standing alone to the side is Li Xiu's, a low E-rank bard whose boosting melodies are currently useless. The hero notices that the girl has been waiting for a long time for someone who would agree to take her into the team. Gathering his courage, the young man approaches her, offering to combine their lonely forces. The girl was in complete shock, because she couldn't even imagine that an S-rank player would invite her. He extends his hand to her with a smile, offering to compete together for a place in the ranking. Confused by his charm and courage, Li Xiu's cannot pass up such a chance and agrees. The system announces the creation of a group, and they officially become partners. The guy confidently declares that he will take on all the dirty work, and she just needs to take care of herself. Li Xiu is touched by his concern, and, with shining eyes, promises not to cause him any trouble. Now that there are 2 of them, all that remains is to find the last participant to enter the abyss. Suddenly, Sujinger, a rare A-rank druid, appears, waving off a crowd of annoying admirers. Lin Tianhao recognizes her as the queen of the school, who is already being hunted by experienced players. The girl, with cold contempt, recognizes in him the main loser who became a summoner. She approaches him, thinking about how humiliating it would be to join his team. But suddenly Sujinger imperiously orders the stunned guy to immediately accept her into the group. She takes his hand, confirming her shocking and inexplicable decision to everyone. The crowd of fans goes into a rage, not understanding why their goddess chose such a non-entity. The girl drives away her former admirers in an icy tone, because now she is part of his team. Sujinger takes command with authority, ignoring the confusion of her new companions. Lin Tianhao can't ignore her strange behavior and demands an explanation. A cold flame burns in her eyes because she sees them as only pawns to achieve first place. Arrogantly calling them empty shells, the girl orders them to immediately follow her into the portal. The boy and the bard exchange glances, because now they will have to survive in this strange trio. Before entering the abyss, the young man warns Li Xiu's to retreat at the slightest danger. The icy breath of the cold valley greets them, chilling them to the bone. Even specially purchased warm clothes prove useless against this terrible frost. At the most desperate moment, Li Xiuzi remembers her ability to create a protective aura. The gentle melody of her harp envelops the team in warmth, earning a surprised look from the queen. Having warmed up, the team rushes into the depths of the icy wastes, because for the sake of ratings, there is no time to waste. A creepy rotten wolf with eyes burning with anger jumps out at them from behind the snowdrifts. The first monster in the dungeon turns out to be low level, but its appearance still inspires fear. Sujinger just smirked, transforming into a graceful and deadly cat spirit. Lin Tianhao watches her transformation in amazement, seeing the druid's power in action for the first time. With incredible speed, the girl rushes at the enemy, ready to tear him to pieces. Her claws inflict monstrous damage, leaving deep, bleeding wounds on the wolf's body. The boy notes that her attacks cause a bleeding effect, while Li Xiu's admires her power. As thanks for the aura of warmth, the queen throws the trophies to the confused bard. Having dealt with the first enemy, Sujinger orders them to move on without delay. Sujinger, in beast form, single-handedly tears apart a pack of rotten wolves. But even the queen of the school is not omnipotent, and enemy claws still wound her. The bard tries to help with his weak magic, but the druid only dismissively waves it away. Despite her pride, she still accepts weak healing magic from her partner. Suddenly, a new threat shakes the earth, heralding the emergence of a far more dangerous enemy. From the snow rises an elite monster, a corpse guardian, whose aura of death paralyzes the heroes with terror. Even the self-confident girl realizes that a battle with such an opponent could be their last. Lin Tianhao guesses that it was the rapid clearing of the wolves that attracted the attention of this hidden boss. The mighty guardian unleashes a crushing blow upon them, causing the entire valley to shake. One blow is enough to crush the school queen, leaving her unconscious among the rubble. In his darkest hour, Lin Tianhao finally summons his loyal slime demon. The boy gives the order, and his monstrous pet unleashes a demon dance on the enemy. Deadly bloody blades rush towards the elite monster, bringing destruction with them. But the guard easily blocks the attack, demonstrating his incredible power and impenetrable defense. The monster only grins evilly, as the pathetic attack couldn't even scratch him. The hero orders the bard to take the queen to safety, as he is now taking the fight upon himself. The young man doesn't give up and commands his pet to use a corrosive spit of mucus. The demonic creature prepares for a new attack, gathering all its dark energy within itself. Another demon dance hits the guard, but only slightly wounds him. The young man realizes that the monster's defense is too high, and he needs to find another way to win. A sudden realization struck Lin Tianhao. The corrosive slime could penetrate the monster's armor. He finds a weak spot and orders his demon to attack the vulnerable legs. The defeated guard dissolves into crimson smoke, and the guy stands proudly over the fallen enemy. The hero calmly analyzes the fight, realizing that it was the weakness in his legs that became the key to victory. The demonic slime unleashes a final barrage of corrosive spittle on the enemy, finishing them off. The system declares victory over an elite monster, rewarding the team with valuable loot. Defeating a higher-level enemy will grant him an incredible amount of experience and 2 levels at once. The girls are shocked by his strength, but Suchinger understands that it is not the class that is at fault, but the hero himself. She is amazed by his tactical genius and fighting instincts, completely changing her opinion of him. The young man approaches the embarrassed queen and their eyes meet, creating an awkward tension. Suchinger tries to hide her pain, but Lin Tianhao gently supports her, seeing her weakness. The bard suggests stopping, as her weak healing requires time and rest. But the school queen is furious, because the pursuit of rankings leaves no time for rest. With difficulty, she rises and tries to move on, but her wounds are too serious. The guy stops her, reasonably noting that the dead will no longer need a rating. His words and caring look make the embarrassed girl agree to take a break. They find a cave marked on the map, where they decide to take refuge and recuperate. Exhausted, Li Shu's, having spent all her mana, instantly falls asleep by the warm fire. Suchinger watches her sleeping friend with slight envy, because she herself cannot sleep. The hero invites the queen to rest as well, while he goes on a reconnaissance mission deep into the cave. Before falling asleep, Suchinger shyly thanks the hero for saving her. Noticing his intense gaze, she immediately breaks down, hiding her embarrassment behind anger. The girl quickly turns away, telling him to forget her words of gratitude and goes to bed. Lin Tianhao only smiled warmly, seeing that behind her prickly personality there was a kind soul. Leaving the girls to rest, the guy goes deeper into the cave to assess the improvements he has received. His stats have increased significantly, and some new things have been added to his skills list. The new skill gives him a huge boost to health and makes his pet stronger. He decides to sacrifice the health he gained to increase the level of his demonic slime. His faithful pet becomes much stronger, gaining a new mysterious skill. The young man studies the new ability with interest, anticipating the power it will give him. With a grin of anticipation, Lin Tianhao prepares to test his pet's terrifying new ability. At his command, the demonic slime begins to divide, releasing a power never seen before. Now, instead of 1 monster, he faces 2, instantly doubling his combat potential. The guy calmly analyzes the changes, because every new power has its own, sometimes dangerous price. But the joy was short-lived. Only 3 minutes separated him from losing this incredible advantage. A sudden surge of dark energy makes him freeze, because they were not alone in the cave. A chilling horror pierces his heart, because he left his companions completely defenseless. A nightmarish shadow with eyes burning with hellish fire approaches the girls from the darkness. Without a second's hesitation, the hero rushes to the defense, ordering his slime to attack the intruder. But in front of them appears a giant snow rabbit of the 8th level, whose appearance does not bode well. The girls panic, because the difference of 6 levels leaves them no chance of winning. But Lin Tianhao remains frighteningly calm, because to him, this is just another rabbit. The enraged monster rushes into attack, unleashing a hail of powerful blows on his pet. The demonic slime can barely withstand the onslaught, but it won't last long. The boy orders his creation to retreat, using his strongest ranged attacks. Even Su Chinger was shocked, because this monster was one of the most dangerous in the Cold Valley. She doesn't understand why he attacked, because they didn't even enter his territory. The bard offers to help, seeing that the slime cannot hit the incredibly fast enemy. But all their efforts are in vain, because the hero's most powerful attack is now on a long cooldown. With desperation in his voice, he orders his pet to return, realizing that they are doomed. In a desperate attempt to save everyone, Li Xiu's rushes forward, becoming a living bait. She throws a rock at the monster, trying to divert its attention to herself and allow her friends to escape. The giant rabbit's eyes flash with rage, and he directs all his anger at the defenseless girl. But instead of a deadly attack, he throws a huge carrot at her, confusing everyone. Suddenly, the menacing monster turns into a cute, fluffy creature and devours its delicacy with gusto. But the respite ends, and the now well-fed rabbit is chasing her again with a new portion of carrots. Lin Tianhao realizes that this is their only chance, and comes up with a risky plan. At his command, the bard throws his backpack with supplies to the confused queen of the school. Suzinger, in her beast form, catches the bag, not understanding what this strange summoner is planning. The hero stands between the monster and the girls, because his plan has already been put into action. Lin Tianhao, with cold fury in his eyes, announced that he was going to kill this monster. Suzinger enters the battle riding a giant rabbit like a wild mustang. She screams desperately because she is not able to hold back the enraged beast alone. The hero points to a narrow passage, ordering her to lure the monster into a deadly trap. The girl understands his brilliant plan, and with a sly grin directs the rabbit to the rocks. In a narrow gorge, the monster loses its main strength, speed, and becomes an easy target. At that very moment, the young man orders his demonic slime to deliver the decisive blow. A bloody spear pierces the giant rabbit's back, immobilizing it and leaving it vulnerable. With a victorious grin, he activates all his skills to finish off the enemy. Despite the victory, the guy understands how weak he still is, and that he has a long way to go. Lin Tianhao understands that without a powerful single-target attack, they are doomed against fast enemies. Suzinger is furious because he shamelessly used her as bait. The guy sheepishly justifies himself, saying that only she could match the monster in speed. All the blame for the rabbit attack ends up falling on poor Li Xiu, who brought the carrot with her. But the hero sees this not as a problem, but as an opportunity, because now they can lure rabbits for quick leveling. To progress further, they need to defeat the level 10 boss, and to do this, they need to raise their levels. He calculates that to reach level 4, they need to kill at least 5 more of these monsters. The bard is horrified because they barely dealt with one, and now they have to fight an entire pack. But the young man only grins confidently, because now they are not victims, but real hunters. The girls agree to his risky plan, and the team begins to prepare for the upcoming hunt. The team acts as a single mechanism, driving another rabbit into a deadly trap. 3 hours later, they achieve their goal, gaining the coveted levels before the boss battle. The girls discuss their success, as they could break the champion's record. But their joy is premature, because the final boss is not a simple monster. The leader of the walking corpses, capable of summoning hordes of undead, will be a serious challenge for them. The team decides to take a short break to recuperate before the decisive battle. While the girls are resting, Lin Tianhao again sacrifices his health to strengthen his pet. He understands that with each level his own health gain decreases, and this needs to be corrected. The slime grows even stronger, ready to meet any enemy that stands in their way. But their rest is interrupted by a deafening roar, heralding the emergence of a new unknown threat. Escaping from the avalanche, the team reaches the edge of the cliff, where they are greeted by a blinding light. Before them appears the secret boss of the Cold Valley, a majestic and beautiful unicorn. Lin Tianhao realizes that they are lucky, because this boss is much stronger than the zombie leader. Captivated by the beauty, the boy doesn't notice how his pet is trying to bring him to his senses. The demonic slime bites its host, breaking him out of the unicorn's spell. But the girls have already fallen under hypnosis, and their eyes look with delight at the beautiful monster. At the last moment, the young man pushes them away, saving them from a deadly but beautiful attack. Hiding in cover, the team tries to figure out why the boss turned out to be a unicorn instead of a zombie. The hero guesses that they have met the guardian of the valley, who protects its inhabitants. The girls are horrified to realize that killing so many monsters has attracted the attention of this powerful protector. Suzinger understands that their thirst for rapid leveling has led them astray from the safe path. Now, instead of a simple boss, they are confronted by a secret one, whose power leaves them no chance. Li Xiu tearfully begs them to run away, as she is too afraid of dying in this terrible place. But there is no turning back. Killing the rabbits has left a mark on them that cannot be hidden. The girl blames herself and her carrot for everything, which led them to this death trap. But Lin Tianhao encourages her, because it was thanks to her that they were able to level up so quickly. With unwavering determination, he stands before the girls, promising to protect them at any cost. Even the school queen gains confidence, and the hero only asks them not to interfere with him in battle. Touched by his courage, the bard, with tears in her eyes, thanks him for the hope she has gained. The unicorn spots them, and the entire team rushes into their last and most desperate battle. The unicorn begins the fight with its most powerful skill, the horned ram. Lin Tianhao, in horror, shouts at the team to immediately scatter in different directions. But the boss uses a melody of purification that paralyzes everyone who hears it. The hero screams Li Shu's name in agony, as only she can withstand this mental attack. The girl, overcoming the pain, begins to play her melody, entering into a musical duel with the boss. The unicorn is furious that someone dared to challenge his power. He unleashes all his might on her, trying to crush the brave girl with the stamping of his hooves. But at the last moment, Suchinger pushes her away, taking the blow on herself. The school queen is thrown back several meters, but manages to strike back. With a furious cry, she rushes at the unicorn, ready to avenge her friend. Suginger engages in mortal combat with the unicorn in an attempt to divert its attention. But the boss turns out to be too strong, and his magic projectile throws her aside. Lin Tianhao screams in horror as he sees his girlfriend flying straight towards the deadly horn. The fatal blow pierces her through and through, and life begins to leave her body. With a cry of despair, Li Shu rushes to her wounded friend, not believing what is happening. The unicorn, having won, hovers in the air, ready to finish off the remaining survivors. But anger awakens a dark force within the hero, and he summons his faithful slime demon. His pet becomes even stronger, ready to unleash all its fury on the enemy. A corrosive spit of slime hits its target, dealing monstrous damage to the unicorn. The girls are shocked because this loser summoner was able to defeat the hidden boss single-handedly. Lin Tianhao understands that his dark power is the perfect weapon against this light creature. With cold confidence, he orders his demon to continue its merciless attack. The wounded unicorn tries to escape, but the hero will not let him go unpunished. He unleashes the full might of his pet on the boss, ready to end this battle. A bloody wave of dark energy rushes into the sky, pursuing its shining victim. A deadly attack hits the unicorn, interrupting its flight and bringing it back to the ground. The guy looks at the result with satisfaction, because his faithful pet did not let him down again. But the enraged boss lets out a death cry that shakes the universe itself. Unbearable pain pierces the heroes, and they fall to their knees, unable to resist. Overcoming his agony, the young man gives the final order that will decide the outcome of this battle. The demonic slime deals the finishing blow, impaling the unicorn with its deadly body. Bloody fetters bind the boss, giving him no chance of escape. But even defeated, the unicorn does not give up and unleashes his final attack on them. Lin Tianhao realizes that time is running out and orders his pet to finish off the enemy. The slime latches onto the boss, trying to eat away at his flesh with its dark magic. Fatal damage puts the unicorn into a berserk state, and its strength increases exponentially. But for some reason, the enraged monster does not attack, freezing a few steps away from the hero. Suginger yells at him in anger because he missed the perfect moment to attack. Without waiting for orders, she rushes at the weakened boss herself, ready to finish the fight. With one precise blow, the school queen finishes off the unicorn, ending this grueling battle. Shock froze in her eyes. Was he really capable of crying? Ancient magic is unleashed, shaking the very fabric of this world. On the brink of despair, the young man entrusts his fate to a dark ally. The scarlet creature carries out the order, bringing chaos and destruction with it. A moment of triumph is reflected in his smug look. Victory turns out to be a trap, and the ground disappears from under your feet. The girl's desperate cry is drowned out by the roar of falling stones. Amidst the chaos, the guy instinctively rushes to the defense of his companions. Her words hit hard, and the realization of her terrible mistake comes too late. A new order escapes his lips in a desperate attempt to make things right. At the cost of an incredible sacrifice, the mythical beast pacifies the raging elements. The temporary lull gives the heroes only a moment of deceptive calm. Disbelief distorts the girl's face at the sight of the fallen defender of these lands. The hope for healing the earth mixes with the dark aura of a dying creature. Her determination to end everything meets with his unexpected resistance. Rage flares in the heroine's eyes. She does not understand the motives of his actions. The alarm in her friend's voice makes the warrior doubt her own righteousness. There is understanding in his gaze. He has guessed the beast's true intention. A sudden betrayal overtakes them, turning hope into a deadly threat. The young man's confidence in the midst of chaos makes her freeze in tense anticipation. Her desperate cry is drowned in the air. She begs him to stop delaying. The final blow has been dealt, but his face shows neither triumph nor relief. Inside the fallen beast lies something unexpected, something that can change everything. From the ashes of death, a miracle is born, shining with innocence and new hope. Blinded by rage, The warrior is ready to destroy something she does not understand at all. The guy stands in her way again, risking everything for the sake of a truth that is incomprehensible to her. There is a steely determination in his gaze. He sees what is hidden from others. The young man's inexplicable act pushes her straight into the arms of the healing light. A bright flash pierces the young man, giving him access to secret knowledge. The true essence of the being, defenseless and pure, is finally revealed to him. A smug smirk touches his lips, because he pulled off something no one expected. The girl's confusion turns to shock when they realize he has found a new ally. The barely found peace collapses along with the ground beneath our feet. The world is splitting into pieces, threatening to swallow them all up. A desperate command to run escapes his lips while there is still some chance. Amidst the growing chaos, the young man makes a silent vow to the defenseless creature. The reward for victory has been received, but the price of delay may be too high. Cold sweat runs down his temple as he realizes he is in a death trap. Their cries are full of despair as they watch helplessly at his recklessness. The heroine's eyes were filled with horror as Lin Tianhao fell into the bottomless abyss. At the last moment, the system offers him a saving way out of the deadly trap. Thrown out of the chaos of the dungeon, the girls finally find themselves in safety. Relief overwhelms the healer. She still cannot believe in their miraculous salvation. Her anxiety turns to anger as the young man tries to hide his risky triumph behind a smile. The crowd is buzzing with anticipation as a new daring hero has joined the ever-present rankings. All eyes are glued to the portal from which a living legend is about to emerge. The appearance of the battered trinity causes only bewilderment and disappointment in everyone. Arrogant ridicule greets the heroes, who were mistaken for pathetic losers. The hot-tempered warrior can barely contain her rage at the undeserved humiliation. The sinister grin of the new enemy promises that the real tests are just beginning. The contemptuous laughter of his enemies surrounds the hero. They do not believe in his meager luck. Dirty ridicule is directed at his companion. Her beauty is considered unworthy of such a union. An icy rage distorts the girl's beautiful face. She will not allow her friends to be humiliated. The threat escapes the lips of the offended opponent. He is not accustomed to such a bold rebuff. Wandong exudes smugness, confident in the gulf between their strengths. But Lin Tianhao only smirked, his calmness disarming and infuriating at the same time. The antagonist's rage explodes. He cannot tolerate such quiet humiliation. A sudden ratings update interrupts the brewing fight, causing everyone to freeze. Disbelief and shock distort Wandong's face when he sees someone else's name at the top. With one movement, the hero throws off the enemy's hand, silently proving who is really on top here. The incredible news shakes the crowd, as an unknown young man has dethroned the undefeated champion. A humiliated opponent cannot accept defeat. His mind clings to a single explanation. A loud accusation of fraud spreads across the square, trying to denigrate the hero's triumph. Vague rumors and envy instantly pick up the false word, sowing doubts in the hearts of people. The guy's icy calm clashes with the hysterical screams of his enemy, who doesn't want to listen to the truth. The emergence of the elite brings a ringing silence to the chaos. Their aura of power silences everyone. A murmur of admiration runs through the crowd at the sight of the legendary family, whose fame thunders everywhere. The young man watches them with interest. This name means something to him. Their strength is obvious even without words. They came here for a completely different purpose. The boy realizes the gap between him and those for whom this cruel world is just another game. The hero's gaze follows the elite, trying to unravel their true motives. Their well-coordinated team raises even more questions in the young man about what purpose brought them here. Wandong tries to curry favor with the arrogant girl, but is met with only cold indifference. His henchman's foolish attempt to intercede looks pathetic and only makes the situation worse. The icy contempt in her gaze speaks louder than any words. She does not tolerate worthless people around her. In desperation, the enemies try to downplay the hero's victory, calling it a simple system error. The leader of the elite makes a veiled threat to the boy, promising that their next meeting will be different. His hypocritical smile conceals a dangerous interest in the newly minted champion. The outstretched hand of the powerful becomes an unexpected gesture, full of hidden meaning. The arrogant girl does not tolerate neglect of her brother. Her anger flares up instantly. An awkward answer hangs in the air, as the polite gesture was rejected with a cold smirk. The heroine's fierce grip proves that she is not going to give up her comrade to anyone. Behind Muranyu's polite smile lies a poorly concealed irritation at the intrusion. The girl with wolf ears proudly leads her team away, not wanting to stay in this circus any longer. Murong Shui blocks their path. Her words hit them hard, because they only need him. A glimmer of hope flashes through the crowd. Now the true reason for the elite's interest in the newcomer is clear to everyone. Despair and determination are mixed in the warrior's voice. She is afraid that her only record will be lost. Members of Muron's retinue try to exert pressure on her with their authority, demanding that she not interfere with the powers that be. From the outside, the choice seems obvious, because an alliance with the strongest promises an easy path to glory. The anxiety of one and the fierce confidence of the other put pressure on the guy, awaiting his final decision. Her daring pose challenges the powers that be, but she does not have the last word. A tempting offer comes from the lips of the tempter, promising glory and power in exchange for loyalty. A desperate protest escapes her lips. She believes to the last in his devotion to their team. Two simple words, spoken with icy calm, shatter her hopes into pieces. His betrayal cuts them to the heart, leaving only shock and bitter bewilderment. Murongyu's face twists into a triumphant grin, relishing his easy victory. One step separates the young man from a new union, and this step seems irreversible. Her desperate cry is drowned out by the noise as the hero's hand freezes over the accept button. There is a hidden impatience in his voice, because everything must go according to his plan. A sudden turn of events ruins his entire plan, leaving only bewilderment and anger on his face. His sly look does not read as a request, but as an ultimatum that changes the rules of the game. Her indignation only highlights the gulf between their pride and his calm confidence. The slight indifference with which the young man is ready to leave puts them in a completely hopeless situation. The pragmatic leader of the elite nevertheless gives in, his curiosity outweighing his wounded pride. Every word he says is a bold challenge, a demand for complete and unconditional submission. The crowd freezes, realizing the genius of his move, for he has put the very reputation of the elite on the line. His posture reveals an undisguised superiority. He waits for an answer, already knowing it in advance. His companion's sly grin becomes the last straw, humiliating them even more. The crowd's recognition of his strength only confirms that he holds all the cards in this game. The hidden threat in someone else's words reminds him that such insolence could cost him his life. A wise leader stops pointless squabbling by reminding his people of the true purpose. Behind his polite smile lies a cold calculation. He is not going to back down so easily. The hero's calm agreement only emphasizes that he was in control of the situation from the very beginning. A hidden threat escapes his lips, for the pride of the strong does not forgive such humiliation. Their departure leaves behind a ringing silence, full of unspoken hostility. Her angry gaze promises revenge as he celebrates his daring victory over them. The hero's carelessness after such a skirmish proves that his goals are much higher than petty intrigues. The rage of his deceived girlfriends falls upon him, because he dared to play with their feelings. His eyes were filled with genuine horror, and he realized that the wrath of his friends was more terrible than the blades of his enemies. The deserved punishment overtakes the Joker, leaving him to reflect on the consequences of his games. Battered but not broken, he seeks temporary refuge from a cruel world. A new force calls him forward. He is eager to test the abilities of his new ally. Concentrating all his will, the young man calls upon magic, waiting for the appearance of his familiar. A blinding flash of light marks the failure, leaving behind only smoke and confusion. Confusion and childish resentment distort his face when he doesn't find his pet. The system message only adds to the confusion by hinting at something completely unexpected. While waiting for a miracle, the guy decides to while away the time, anticipating a well-deserved reward. An unexpected letter brings him fame, but also a rather dubious title. Confusion and irritation battle on his face, because such a title sounds like a mockery. Having discarded the silly reward, the hero focuses on the main prize that can change everything. With bated breath, he opens the chest, because its contents could determine his entire future destiny. The first reward turns out to be modest but useful, giving him much-needed protection. The second chest beckons him with its radiance, promising something much more valuable and rare. Incredible luck. The rarest silver rank artifact ends up in his hands. Holding the treasure in his hands, the young man feels how power fills him, giving him new possibilities. Determination flashes in his eyes. He is ready to embrace this power and become someone more. New equipment envelops his body, turning yesterday's loser into a true warrior. His stats skyrocket, reflecting his new deadly power in the system window. Without wasting a second, the guy invests points in a key skill, betting on the future. A scarlet aura explodes around him. His ability is greatly enhanced, promising his enemies a quick death. Confidence fills him, because with renewed strength, he will become an invincible conqueror of the dungeons. Not stopping there, the young man decides to strengthen his loyal but terrible ally. The demonic slime already looks menacing, but that's only a small part of its hidden potential. The sudden discovery stuns him. The possibility of evolution promises unimaginable power. Anticipation makes his heart beat faster, because the new form will bring new skills. The mystery of the system only fuels his curiosity, and he can't wait any longer. Casting aside all doubts, the young man takes a risky step into the unknown. The price of power is high, but he does not hesitate to sacrifice a part of himself for the greater goal. Crimson energy explodes around him, his familiar responding to his master's sacrifice. Mesmerized, the boy watches the riot of the elements, in which something new and terrifying is born. There is a slight feeling of uneasiness in the air, as the time for gathering has already arrived, and the hero is nowhere to be found. Amidst the daily hustle and bustle, a simple but brilliant idea is born on how to find a missing comrade. The squad's map reveals its strange location, leaving the girls confused. Tempers flare instantly and they rush off to get their wayward leader back. From the clouds of smoke emerges not a monster, but a beautiful and completely innocent creature. What he saw made him feel hot, because this evolution had surpassed all his wildest expectations. Embarrassment overwhelms the guy when he realizes the piquancy of the situation. His panicked cry breaks the silence of the forest, but the new creature does not understand his confusion. The sudden throw knocks the young man off his feet, leaving him completely bewildered by her actions. His embarrassment reaches its limit under her innocent, yet so close and questioning gaze. His embarrassment wars with his sense of responsibility, as he doesn't know what to do with his new minion. Overcoming his awkwardness, the boy finds in his inventory at least some clothes for the innocent creature. The new outfit gives her even more charm, emphasizing her otherworldly beauty. His irritation gives way to fatigue when he realizes that he will have to explain the simplest things. An awkward attempt to teach her how to dress turns into a funny and touching scene. At this moment he realizes that his life will never be the same again, because he has become everything to her. A sudden discovery stuns the hero, opening up incredible tactical possibilities for him. His companion's new characteristics exceed all expectations, turning her into a deadly weapon. Two new skills, one devastating, the other tormenting, promise a terrible fate to enemies. The anticipation of future battles makes his heart beat faster, because now their duet has become invincible. The irritation is growing with every minute, because their wayward leader has disappeared somewhere again. Driven by anxiety, they rush through the forest thicket to find him as quickly as possible. Relief mingles with anticipation of imminent reprisal when she finally notices him. Exhausted by the chase, the healer barely has time to catch her breath before the storm breaks out. Her scream, full of rage and jealousy, breaks the silence, because what she saw does not fit in her head. His genuine surprise only adds fuel to the fire of their raging imagination. An angry accusation escapes her lips. She sees in the innocent scene only confirmation of her worst suspicions. Surrounded by a wall of misunderstanding, he can only cry sadly from resentment and powerlessness. His desperate cry is an attempt to reach them through the veil of their anger. Having lost all hope in words, he decides to prove his innocence with actions. Her reproaches are full of relief, because if he were even a moment late, their expedition would have been ruined. His carelessness borders on madness, because he risked everything for an extra minute of rest. Gathering their courage, they step forward into danger without hesitation, led by their leader. On the snowy battlefield, the elite realize their defeat. Their target has slipped away from under their noses. Cold rage distorts their leader's face, as someone dared to pass him on his own field. Among the corpses of his enemies, he searches for the answer to the question of who possesses such incredible speed. The confusion of his retinue only underlines the scale of their failure in this secret mission. The bold offer to buy the loot by force sounds like a desperate attempt to regain what was lost. Panic grips them, because publicity about the secret mission threatens them with much bigger problems. This new guess raises even more questions. Could a third unknown player have entered the game? Her anger is mixed with contempt. She can't believe that they were beaten by some rookie team. Logic tells her that no one but them could have known about the awakening of the secret boss. An unpleasant suspicion creeps into her mind that if this was blind, incredible luck. His fury at his impotence only confirms that their exclusive knowledge has been useless. The question of who could have defeated the enraged beast beats in his head without finding an answer. Blinded by a thirst for revenge, she proposes to take by force what she considers rightfully hers. Personal resentment towards the impudent young man clouds her eyes. She longs to put him in his place. The leader's cold mind stops her impulse, for the honor of their order must not be tarnished. He understands that there is something more behind the accidental victory. Their enemy is not so simple. A sudden insight ties everything together, and the name of the mysterious rival finally resonates in his thoughts. Having accepted defeat, the leader of the elite puts off revenge for later, because now the report is important. His order sounds like a retreat, but in the sister's eyes one can see the thirst for future reprisals. The hero's team enters the dungeon, determined to prove their superiority. His slight irritation at her behavior only underscores their complex but strong bond. A dark silhouette in the depths of the forest becomes the first test of their strength on this dangerous path. The warrior's eyes flash with excitement. She is ready to single-handedly tear the enemy to shreds. The sudden appearance of an entire flock becomes an unpleasant and deadly surprise for them, Anxiety distorts their faces, because the abnormal number of enemies promises them serious problems. But her fighting spirit cannot be broken. She fearlessly throws herself into the thick of the battle. The healer enters the battle, her music becoming a deadly weapon and a saving shield. Her combat class is revealed in all its glory, bringing death to every enemy. The fire of battle burns in her eyes. She is ready to crush an entire army single-handedly. Among the corpses of his enemies, he is tormented by a vague doubt. This accident seems too suspicious. An easy victory does not relax them. They continue their journey deeper into enemy territory. There is determination in his gaze. He feels that the solution to this mystery is already close. The ringing silence of this place weighs on his shoulders. He instinctively feels the approach of trouble. Her fighting spirit remains undiminished, and she trusts her healer completely to watch her back. Her sharp cry makes everyone freeze, because in this silence a deadly threat lurks. The death trap snaps shut, cutting off all their escape routes. Hope fades from their eyes as they find themselves surrounded and with no escape. A cold realization pierces him, because these creatures act not on instinct, but on someone's evil intent. A scarlet aura explodes around the young man as he prepares to show his enemies his true, hidden power. A menacing phantom is born from the shadows, a reflection of his own, not yet fully understood power. In a desperate leap, he throws himself into the thick of the enemy to call upon his faithful ally. A confident smirk touches his lips, knowing that his slime demon will change the course of this battle. The outside world trembles. Panic grips the area in front of the entrance to the Black Abyss. The portal is unstable, its ominous glow foreshadowing a catastrophe of unprecedented proportions. Horror distorts people's faces when they realize that the barrier between the worlds is about to collapse. The death rattle of a wounded warrior brings terrible news. A breakthrough has begun in the abyss. Shock paralyzes the guard, as before his eyes a peaceful day turns into the beginning of the apocalypse. Disbelief and panic grip the guards, as a breakthrough into the Black Abyss was considered impossible. Dead bodies fly out of the portal, silently testifying to the nightmare that is happening inside. The crimson letters of the system message pronounce a death sentence. The difficulty level has become a real nightmare. A desperate cry for help pierces the air, because they alone cannot hold back the approaching hell. Amidst the chaos of battle, the young man calls upon his hidden power, preparing to meet the enemy fully armed. Death looks into his eyes, but there is no fear in his gaze, only cold determination. His new power amazes his friends, and they look in amazement at his incredible transformation. He calmly asks them to step back, because the battle that is coming will belong only to him. Their faith in him is unwavering. They leave him alone on the battlefield without hesitation. They watch him with bated breath, their hearts full of anxiety and timid hope for a miracle. His brazen challenge echoes across the battlefield, as if he were playing with fire. A new, even more formidable enemy enters the battle, bringing with him an aura of pure hatred. The calm order is given, his confidence in his ally unshakable. Anxiety grips their hearts like icy vices, because he finds himself in a deadly trap. The unexpected blow makes them cry out in pain and shock, underestimating the strength of the attack. Their friend's joyful cry gives them hope. Their secret weapon works flawlessly. Disbelief distorts their faces. They could not have imagined such crushing power. A slight smile touches his lips, because even this mortal threat only fuels his passion. Panic grips them as a stray blow penetrates their defenses, leaving them vulnerable. In a desperate race against time, the healer tries to save her friend from certain death. Surrounded by enemies, his mind remains cold, and he sees someone's evil intent behind the chaos of battle. His guess is confirmed. The coordinated actions of the monsters leave no doubt about their intelligence. Her friend's desperate dash to his aid seems to her the only way out of the trap. Her plea, filled with fear for his life, only strengthens the warrior's resolve to act. A fire flashes in her eyes. She is ready to make any sacrifice to save her leader. In her hand lies a dangerous potion, a risky trump card that could change the course of the battle. Casting aside her doubts, she takes a sip, accepting temporary strength in exchange for future weakness. A sudden gust of wind knocks enemies back, giving them precious moments of respite. He unleashes his true power, his eyes burning with hellish fire, ready to incinerate everything. With one crushing blow, he proves that in this battle he is no longer the prey, but the predator. His ally easily destroys the enemy, leaving behind only a pile of bones. The girl's jubilation is mixed with the horror of the enemy, who did not expect such a crushing force. The remaining monsters fall into a rage, their primitive minds thirsting only for blood and revenge. The deadly dance of two giants swirls in a whirlwind of steel, shaking the very earth. A previously unknown attack strikes the young man, as he encounters something beyond ordinary monsters. Horror flashes in her eyes, because this anomalous force threatens them with imminent death. A desperate cry of warning escapes her lips, but it is too late to change anything. At the last moment, he gives the order, entrusting his life into the hands of his faithful minion. His loyal ally takes the blow, becoming a living shield for his master. Her face is distorted with rage. She will not allow him to die without her permission. Casting aside her fear, the girl downs the potion, making a last desperate bet on victory. Her body is enveloped in wild flames, awakening an ancient primal rage within. In place of the fragile warrior, a mighty beast in human form is born. Horror paralyzes the healer at the sight of her best friend's monstrous transformation. There is a cold fire burning in her new eyes. She had no idea about the power that slept inside. Through the prism of rage, she sees that her commander is still in mortal danger. All her humanity disappears, giving way to the indomitable power of a giant polar bear. The guy falls into despair, because now he needs to save himself not only from enemies, but also from allies. A deadly whirlwind passes by, and the young man is already preparing to accept his terrible death. The miraculous rescue leaves him in a stupor, alive only thanks to his faithful minion. The beast inside her freezes under the merciless onslaught, deaf to his desperate cries. Taking command, he unleashes his darkest power to turn the tide of the battle. For the first time, she sees his true power, and the sight leaves her frozen in awe. His confidence is infectious, and he charges forward with a furious roar, ready to crush the enemy. Submitting to his will, the scarlet creature turns into a deadly weapon, ready to tear apart the enemy. A deadly barrage descends upon the enemies, leaving them no chance of escape. Relief washes over her as the battle ends, and at the last moment he is there to catch her. He was teetering on the brink of death. But now there was only a smug, victorious grin on his face. He is confused by her strange state, because he has never seen her take on such a form. Her pathetic whine is full of pain, the price she paid for her incredible strength. Anxiety grips his heart because she is on the verge of death, draining her last strength. He is desperate to save her, because she sacrificed everything for him in this suicidal battle. The healing potion touches her lips, becoming the last hope for salvation in this icy hell. Relief turns to bewilderment when his hand feels something unexpectedly soft. A flush of shame floods his face as he realizes the awkwardness of his accidental touch. Her innocent question takes him by surprise, and his embarrassment breaks out in a treacherous flow of bleeding. A furious cry breaks the silence, because in his saving gesture she saw only dirty harassment. Gratitude for being saved turns into a hail of blows falling on his poor head. Her anger and embarrassment mix into a storm as she returns to her former appearance. A deadly threat escapes her lips as he tries to comprehend the irony of his situation. Under her furious pressure, he takes a vow of silence that he dare not break. Her icy gaze becomes a final warning, burning fear into his soul. His fawning submission proves who is really in charge here now. He cannot believe in her nerves of steel, because he himself is on the verge of a breakdown from tension. Anxiety mixes with tenderness as they try to bring their friend back from the arms of sleep. Her awakening is an explosion of primal horror, born in the nightmares of the subconscious. They try to reach her through the veil of fear, assuring her of a security that they themselves do not feel. Joyful embraces become a reward for their courage, washing away the remnants of the horror they experienced. Relief gives way to anxiety, because ahead of them lies only the unknown of this cursed place. His serious tone brings them back to the harsh reality, as the complexity of the abyss has increased many times over. Her worst fears are confirmed, as the monsters have become not only stronger, but also more numerous. Panic slithers through her voice like an icy snake as she asks a question that has no answer. His cold mind suggests the only correct decision. They will not survive in this deadly trap. Their faith in him is unshakable, and they meekly agree to a tactical retreat. He activates the exit, willing to pay any price to save his team. The hope of salvation is shattered in an instant when the system delivers its merciless sentence on them. Shock and disbelief distort his face as he just realized that they were trapped in a real nightmare. An icy horror grips her body, cutting off all means of escape and leaving only despair. She desperately tries to appear strong, her words a fragile shield against the all-consuming fear. While he tries to comprehend the new threat, her mind is already painting pictures of a terrible battle with an invincible boss. His plan is simple and brilliant, but a bad feeling poisons their resolve. He suggests that they split up, but her eyes reflect distrust and fear of being left behind. His clever move should speed up their leveling, as they will become stronger on their own. Despite her doubts, she trusts him. Their temporary separation is the key to future victory. An hour later, he stands on the top of the mountain, proving that his strength knows no bounds. A smug smile touches his lips. He has achieved his goal with incredible speed. He reveals his main trump card, because the power of his pets is not limited by the rules of this world. His minion's stats are astounding, but his slow growth seems like a strange anomaly. His own progress has also slowed, and he is looking for a way to speed up the inevitable. A sudden flash of insight comes into his eyes as he finds the answer in the ancient book. Their hunt is interrupted by a chilling howl, heralding the arrival of the true master of these lands. His face is distorted with alarm because he recognizes the leader, whose name inspires primal terror. Hope fades from their eyes as the boss's crushing might descends upon them from the sky. At the last moment, cat reflexes save them from certain death. The desperate rush exhausts her to the limit, leaving them both defenseless in the face of the enemy. The earth shakes from the impact, the power of which surpasses anything they have encountered before. Seeing their helplessness, he desperately rushes to help, calling on his faithful ally. The worry in his voice is mixed with relief when he finally reaches his wounded friends. The entire team is assembled, but they are wounded and broken, and one of them is already unconscious. Hiding her pain behind a mask of composure, the warrior realizes that her arm is incapacitated. A giant shadow covers them, instilling terror, because now the boss has become even stronger and more deadly. Beneath the beast's mask, a human face can be seen, distorted by hatred and bloodlust. His stats are impressive, but the true threat lies in his ability to summon an endless horde. Her voice trembles with despair. She begs him to run, because this battle seems doomed to failure. But his decision is unwavering. He is ready to accept the fight, even if it is his last. Excitement flashes in his eyes, because even the nightmarish difficulty is not able to break his fighting spirit. He notices the enemy's vulnerability, his weak spot, the key to victory in this hopeless battle. Steely determination fills his voice as he gives the order that will turn the tide of the battle. He activates his strongest skill, preparing to unleash all his hidden power on the enemy. His ally answers the call, doubling his strength and transforming into the perfect weapon of destruction. The young man understands that this slime is no match for him in battle. In desperation, the hero decides to resort to a dangerous summoning ritual. The young man casts an ancient spell, calling upon unknown forces. His call is heard, and ferocious ghostly beasts burst forth from the portal. Suddenly, a powerful and beautiful stranger appears in front of Lin Tianhao. The boy calls upon another ally, the warrior Suchinger, to turn the tide of the battle. A sudden, crushing attack takes the heroes by surprise, throwing them to the ground. At the last moment, a saving protective aura protects them from a fatal blow. The girl with the harp screams in horror that her weak defense won't last long. Lin Tianhao, without wasting a second, prepared to cast his most powerful spell. Gathering all his willpower, the guy completes the ritual with a final gesture. Hope flashes in his eyes. Could this desperate plan have worked? A majestic and shining unicorn appears from the blinding light. The newborn ally looks insignificant in the face of the furious giant. The wounded heroine, with her last strength, begs Lin Tianhao to flee. Despite the mortal danger, the young man directs his horse to attack. The mythical beast unleashes ancient and devastating magic hidden within it. With one swift blow, the magical creature pierces the monster with icy power. Everyone is in shock because the boss, who seemed invincible, fell from a single blow. After an incredible victory, the young man tenderly checks to see if his savior is okay. The young man cannot contain his delight as he looks at the incredible characteristics of his new ally. With tenderness, he thanks his little companion, without whose help they would not have survived. The guy hurries to his girlfriends, who can't believe that he saved them again. The girls look at the unicorn in amazement, shocked by its hidden power. The young man smugly admits that he himself did not expect such a crushing force. Even while overcoming pain, the heroine finds the strength to explain the reason for their stunning victory. A sudden system message interrupts their conversation, throwing everyone into a state of trepidation. The assessment of their feat exceeds all conceivable expectations, promising an unheard-of reward. As a prize, a mysterious artifact of legendary quality materializes in front of the hero. However, joy gives way to bewilderment when the guy sees strange negative readings on the item. A sudden revelation strikes the young man as he realizes the artifact's true, dark purpose. Thoughts of enslaving the souls of his enemies and empowering his minions excite his imagination. Succumbing to temptation, the young man activates the tablet, releasing ominous purple energy. The artifact greedily absorbs the very essence of the defeated boss, capturing it within itself. A devilish grin touches the hero's lips, anticipating the limitless power of the new army. His triumph is interrupted by a sudden attack as a huge white beast pounces on him. The boy falls to the ground, and the painfully familiar figure of Suchinger bends over him. The girl laughs coquettishly, enjoying his confused and frightened look. Ling Tianhao is confused as to how his cat spirit could transform into a mighty wolf. The heroine slyly hints that he was not the only one who received a secret and incredible reward for this fight. Ling Tianhao was annoyed, and couldn't understand why her epic item looked more powerful than his legendary one. The guy looks at the girl in bewilderment, trying to understand what kind of phoenix warrior she is. They decide not to take any risks for now. postponing the testing of the new mysterious power until later. The sudden appearance of their friend in a new guise with a little fairy takes the couple by surprise. The girl mage proudly declares that she too has now become a force capable of protecting them. A flash of magic illuminates the face of the young man who put his last hope into the spell. And here it is, a miracle born from light and despair, ready to change the course of the entire battle. Panic distorts the heroine's face when she sees that the monster is only gaining its true power. Concentrating streams of pure energy, the magical steed prepares to deliver the decisive blow. A friend enthusiastically shows off her new equipment and tiny fairy helper. The mysterious title of the new set only leaves the young man puzzled. They decide to postpone unraveling the secrets of their equipment until they return from the dungeon. The hero finally realizes that the hat's true power lies in its incredible passive effects. Even the little fairy is absolutely delighted by the insane power of this new artifact. The boy bitterly realizes that his legendary chest seems like useless trash compared to her discovery. With a warm smile, he thanks his little companion, without whom certain death would have awaited them. The heroine shyly strokes the unicorn, not allowing the envious Lin Tianhao to even touch it. The young man hurries everyone out, because they urgently need to figure out the reasons for what happened. By touching the system window, the hero opens a portal leading them away from this dangerous place. The team finally leaves the icy abyss, returning to the real world after an ordeal. The hero's exit from the portal causes a sensation, and the unearthly beauty of their new companion knocks everyone out. Before them appears a divinely beautiful girl, shrouded in an aura of pure magic and power. The stranger addresses the stunned hero as her master, plunging him into a complete stupor. The guy's nose bleeds from shock when he finally realizes that this beauty is his unicorn. A worried man tries to figure out what all the commotion is about at the exit of a dangerous dungeon. Panic grips the witnesses, as no one has ever returned alive from this seething abyss. The squad leader understands the seriousness of the situation, and orders an immediate investigation into what is happening. The news that the survivors are not only alive, but safe and sound, leaves everyone in shock. A loud system announcement reveals their incredible achievement, causing the crowd to gasp in amazement. A completely bewildered Lin Tianhao panicked and begged his new companion not to come any closer. The unicorn girl's unexpected closeness sends the embarrassed guy into a real panic. A jealous Suchinger furiously lashes out at Lin Tianhao with insulting accusations. Brought to tears by injustice, the young man finds solace in his friend, the magician Li Shui. Healing magic brings relief, and he does not miss the opportunity to prick the offender with gratitude. The girls form a fragile truce, but the unspoken tension between them lingers. A sudden and drastic change in the unicorn's behavior alarms the young man, foreshadowing something bad. Suddenly, an influential and stern-looking man, exuding power, appears before them. The appearance of Director Feng Kong does not bode well, and the entire team is tense in anticipation. The magician friend carelessly tries to attract attention, which surprises the others. A brief flashback hints at a mysterious and complex relationship between the hero and the director. A mysterious observer in the bushes gestures to the heroes to remain silent and not make a sound. The young man quickly calms his enraged companion, recognizing the spy as his class teacher. The alarmed mentor demands an immediate explanation, sensing something amiss in their sudden appearance. A man reports terrible news about a monster outbreak that has claimed many lives in the dark abyss. A chill runs down the boy's spine when he hears the accusation of involvement in the tragedy. The young man stands frozen in silent shock, unable to believe that he is considered the culprit of the bloody massacre. The teacher's experienced gaze instantly pierces the disguise, revealing the true nature of the beautiful stranger. Ling Tianhao cautiously tries to understand how deeply his mentor has penetrated his deepest secrets. The old man clutches his head, realizing that his reckless student has done the impossible right under his nose. The teacher, in a panic, warns of danger, but ominous shadows with glowing eyes are already catching up with their victim. Director Feng Kan makes an imperious gesture and orders his men to mercilessly seize the students. The sudden intervention of a powerful man plunges the teacher into a state of panic. The old man dismisses his mentor with disdain, ordering him not to interfere in matters that are none of his business. The teacher, in desperation, tries to appeal to the mind of his older friend, reminding him of their common school. Lin Tianhao is shocked to the core when he learns of the secret relationship between his mentor and the formidable director. The principal delivers his verdict, officially and irrevocably expelling the trio from the ranks of students. This news hits the heroes like a bolt from the blue, leaving them completely stunned. The man relentlessly repeats his sentence, leaving them no chance of salvation. All his power and authority comes down on them when he declares that his word is law. Enraged by the injustice, the young man boldly steps forward, demanding an explanation from the director. The mentor desperately stands up for the student, reminding the director that unjustified expulsions are unacceptable. He points out the boy's rare talent, trying to reach the old man's mind and keep the valuable student. The principal angrily pushes the teacher away, claiming that delay will lead to disaster for everyone. His icy command makes everyone freeze, and his gaze reveals a hidden and deadly threat. Suddenly, new mysterious figures appear, looking with interest at the culprit of the commotion. Lin Tianhao casually addressed the little girl, completely unaware of the aura of power emanating from her. His familiarity infuriates her, because he dared to address the heiress of the imperial family in such a way. The young man just shrugs, unable to remember such an influential family, which infuriates her even more. The director's expression immediately changes, trying to ingratiatingly explain the whole situation to the high-ranking person. With one imperious gesture, the young mistress cancels his order, forcing him to release the innocent students. The mistress's mysterious companion offers the director a scroll that can transport them to the very heart of the Black Abyss. The teacher looks at the scroll in horror, realizing that sending inexperienced students into such hell is tantamount to a death sentence. The haughty lady looks at the young man with disdain, reminding him of his low origins. A girl from the imperial family imperiously orders the heroes to join her squad to explore a dangerous gorge. Lin rejects her proposal without hesitation, causing the spoiled aristocrat to fly into a fit of uncontrollable rage. The principal intervenes in the conflict, trying to protect his students and lead them away from the impending danger. The heir to the throne is furious that some old man dared to interrupt her and stand in her way. The cunning director finds a loophole in the rules, declaring that until the expulsion is formalized, they remain under his protection. The lady's companion loses patience, her gaze grows cold, and she accuses the old man of disobeying the will of the emperor. In a tense silence, Li Shui turns to Ling Tianhao, silently acknowledging him as his commander and awaiting his decision. The aristocrat subtly hints that after such a feat, their every move will be closely watched. Unexpectedly for everyone, Su Qing'er resolutely agrees to the deadly proposal. Lin Tianhao understands that they have no choice, because taking a risk is better than rotting in prison. The girl from the imperial family enjoys his hopeless situation with a sly grin. The mentor desperately begs the boy to come to his senses, because going into the Black Abyss means certain death. Reluctantly, the young man agrees, and the faithful Li Shui immediately declares that she will follow him. The lady's companion coldly orders the director not to interfere anymore, and to let them go. With a heavy sigh and pain in his heart, the old man is forced to submit, stepping aside. The teacher tries to appeal to his senior comrade for the last time, unable to believe his inaction. The director bitterly explains that his hands are tied, since it was the mentor's intervention that led to this outcome. The commander of the imperial swordsmen, Zuo Shen, introduces himself, his aura inspiring awe. The warrior warns that behind the chief servant's deceptive appearance lies a deadly threat. The reluctant team sets out to meet their murky and dangerous destiny. A powerful teleportation spell whisks them away, leaving all questions unanswered. The heroes find themselves in the luxurious but ominously quiet throne room of the imperial palace. The splendor and wealth of the palace are dazzling, but cannot hide the oppressive atmosphere of the trap. A sense of foreboding gripped Li Shui, who felt that something was wrong with this plan. The sudden realization of danger makes the friends shudder. Their worst fears come true. In an instant, the friendly attendants turn into ruthless guards, surrounding them. The aristocrat laughs maliciously, revealing her insidious plan to deceive naive newcomers. The tentacle attacks catch the Imperial Guard off guard, causing panic and chaos. Lin Tianhao coldly demands an explanation, his calmness revealing that he had been expecting this betrayal. The aristocrat admits with a devilish grin that her insidious plan has been uncovered. The guy reveals his own trump card, showing that all this time he was just playing the role of a carefree simpleton. The girl is perplexed why he allowed the situation to go so far, if he had the initiative from the very beginning. He wisely explains that a bloody battle on foreign soil would be disastrous for both sides. The lady, with feigned innocence, declares that she merely wanted to teach them a lesson in caution. Her maid tries to smooth things over, but the tension in the air could be cut with a knife. As a gesture of reconciliation, they are offered a mysterious gift, leading them deeper into the golden cage of the palace. Suvinger whispered that they should unite, feeling that these aristocrats could not be trusted for a second. The young man teases his girlfriend with a grin, confident that without his intervention she would have already died. Casting aside his doubts, the boy boldly moves forward, ready to rip the masks off these treacherous aristocrats. They are led down a luxurious corridor where mysterious frescoes on the walls hold the silent secrets of the past. The Imperial Guard reluctantly lifts the veil of secrecy, telling about the great history of this place. An aristocrat's unexpected revelation about her summoner ancestor links the hero's fate with this powerful family. His words bring to life the ancient legend of a great battle and a tragic defeat that determined the fate of the world. There is pain and bitterness in her voice as she speaks of the fall of her ancestor and the demise of an entire warrior class. She reveals the main secret, declaring the young man the first in 1,000 years to possess the legendary gift of the summoner. They are invited to a sumptuous feast, but this invitation looks more like a last meal before execution. The girls are horrified to realize that Ling Tianhao is the main target, and that he may now be sacrificed to the ancient spirits. The guy brushes off his friend's creepy guesses, trying to hide his own anxiety with a joke. Even in the face of mortal danger, the girls cannot hide their delight at the unprecedented luxury. At a richly laid table, Mrs. Anne finally gets down to business, and her words make everyone tense up. She reveals her true purpose, declaring the young man the key to solving an ancient mystery that could change the world. The young man makes a risky bet, promising them all the treasures of the dungeon in exchange for their help. The experienced warrior acknowledges their strength, but his words are tinged with cold calculation rather than respect. Lin Tianhao is wary because they know about his secret equipment that no one should know about. The aristocrat easily reveals the secret of the hat, proving that her knowledge extends far beyond the ordinary. Li Ji clutches the hat to herself in shock, realizing that she had been in possession of the sacred relic all this time. The feast is over and Lady Anne announces their immediate departure, leaving them no time to think. The sudden rush does not leave them a second to think, throwing them into a whirlpool of events. Before a shimmering portal of ancient runes, unwitting allies prepare to meet their shared destiny. With one last warning glance, Commander Zuo Shen makes it clear that there is no turning back. Handmaiden Lucy unleashes the power of the ancient scroll, and an ominous purple energy envelops the portal. A pillar of dark magic pierces the hall, tearing apart the very fabric of reality and opening a path into the abyss. The Imperial Guard marches into the Star Rift without hesitation, leaving the mistress alone with her new pawns. The aristocrat casts one last searching glance at Lin Tianhao, enjoying his forced submission. Her piercing gaze catches the shadow of doubt on his face, and she notes his distrust with disdain. She steps into the unknown, reminding them that a sober view of things is their only chance of survival. At the last second, the young man seeks support from Su Qinger, but her silent and determined gaze speaks volumes. Casting aside his doubts, the young man decisively gives the order to advance, taking on the role of leader. With a sly grin, he explains that sticking close to the strong is their best chance of survival. There is an unwavering determination in his eyes as he vows to protect his girlfriends with his life. The Trinity bravely steps into the Star Rift, unaware that their fate has already become a subject of debate. News of their triumph bursts into the guild hall, sowing shock and fury among those who thought them doomed. Disbelief turns to anger when they realize that this daring newcomer has once again ruined their plans. The humiliated warrior vows to take back the reward, unable to accept the fact that they were passed over by the upstarts. The leader tries to save face, but his sister reminds him that it was because of Ling Tianhao that their mission failed. The sudden appearance of a mysterious jester adds a note of ominous irony and hidden threat to the atmosphere. All eyes are turned upward, where their true master, hidden behind the mask, delivers his verdict. A mysterious jester offers them to atone for their guilt by handing them a scroll into a deadly dungeon. He promises untold treasures and unprecedented power to those who dare to challenge fate. A chilling horror grips them, for this dungeon is a direct path into the arms of certain death. The Joker slyly hints that all the great powers of the world will take part in this deadly race. With a devilish grin, he offers his help, subtly hinting at their insignificant weakness. Without waiting for an answer, he unleashes a stream of dark energy, leaving them no choice. A powerful explosion distorts reality, forcibly dragging them into a whirlpool of chaos and madness. In an instant, the heroes find themselves in the middle of the desert, confirming their worst fears of a trap. Before them yawns the shattered abyss, guarded by ancient, awe-inspiring stone guardians. The girl, with a smug smile, confirms that she believed in his reckless courage from the very beginning. The aristocrat, with a sly grin, confirms her wildest and most terrifying guesses. Her mysterious words only thicken the clouds of mistrust and misunderstanding in the young man's head. She offers him a gift that is impossible to refuse, tempting him with force and drawing him into her game. The guy ends up with a legendary artifact that can summon an entire legion of deadly shadows. The girl's generosity seems like a trap to him, and he cannot believe that such a gift came to him without a catch. Her cold calculation only confirms his fears, because this gift is nothing more than an investment in his power. Succumbing to temptation, the young man unleashes the ancient power contained within the mysterious card. From the purple smoke, 3 beautiful and deadly warriors arise, now bound to him by bonds of service. However, the price for such power turns out to be too high, and he falls dead, bleeding out in front of his terrified friends. Overcoming hellish pain, the hero realizes that he has touched a force that can either elevate him or destroy him. The new subjects surround their master, disconcerting him with their frank and provocative closeness. A sudden attack from the Imperial swordsman interrupts the awkward moment, warning everyone of the invisible threat. The faithful servant reacts with lightning speed, protecting her mistress from mortal danger. Lin Tianhao noted with a grin that, unlike the newcomers, he sensed a catch from the very beginning. A fiery demonic hedgehog bursts out from underground, its furious roar shaking the very earth. The experienced warrior calmly urges the girls not to panic, as this is only the beginning of their severe test. The monster reveals its true, terrifying self, transforming into a giant mouth lined with fangs. In a blinding flash, the monster explodes, showering the battlefield with a rain of red-hot needles. At the last moment, a mysterious warrior in the shadows deflects the deadly attack with one lightning-fast swing. The earth trembles again, and from its depths a new, fierce ally of the beast form emerges. Suddenly, the fragile aristocrat releases a powerful stream of energy, saving everyone from certain death. The young man is amazed, because he had no idea that behind her spoiledness there was hidden such a rare protective gift. Her answer to his unasked question leaves the guy in shock because she has just read his deepest thoughts. The maid rudely interrupts his thoughts, returning him to the harsh reality and the threat hanging over them. A new, even more terrifying enemy emerges from the shadows, a giant boar whose eyes burn with hellish fire. The monster's terrifying characteristics leave no doubt that the elite boar king is certain death for them. A chilling horror grips the girls, and the thought of escape seems like the only salvation from this hell. The sudden appearance of a mysterious swordsman gives them a ghost of a chance for salvation. With one crushing blow, he unleashes all his might on the monster, defying death itself. Without wasting a second, the brave maid joins the attack, showering the beast with a hail of bullets. The aristocrat unleashes a barrage of fireballs on the monster, but her magic only bounces off its armor. Realizing the futility of their attacks, they realize that a direct confrontation would drag on for hours and drain their strength. Lin Tianhao couldn't believe that even the entire might of the royal family was powerless against this creature. The Imperial swordsman confirms with annoyance that the boar's thick hide makes him virtually invulnerable. The girl reveals her true motive, as only his new ghost warriors can solve this problem. With a sly grin, she explains that the key to victory is not brute force, but the ability to bypass defenses. A sudden revelation strikes the young man, and he finally understands the unique and deadly nature of his shadow army. She confirms his guess, placing the full weight of responsibility for the outcome of this battle on his shoulders. The loyal guards struggle to hold back the onslaught, their desperate cries only highlighting the hopelessness of the situation. The girl throws him one last challenge, reminding him that even her great ancestor could barely cope with such colossal power. Gathering all his will, the young man releases a golden aura, preparing for a decisive and deadly throw. His faithful warrior fearlessly charges at the giant boar, her blade flashing like a harbinger of a storm. She brings down the full force of her giant hammer on the monster, shaking the very earth from the force of the blow. The aristocrat watches in shock as the newcomer enhances his weapon on his own, something she never even dreamed of. The crushing blow pierces the armor and reaches the monster's heart, killing it in one fell swoop. Even Lin Tianhao himself didn't expect that his new shadow army would be so deadly. The Imperial guardsmen can't believe their eyes, as it takes centuries to perfect such skills. The maid reveals another secret with a grin, hinting at a hidden and incredibly useful function of the Legion. A map of the area created by his shadows appears in the guy's hands, which plunges the aristocrat into a state of shock. However, the joy of this unexpected advantage is marred, as the map shows only a small part of their dangerous path. They realize that they are in a deadly trap, because even a complete map could not guide them through this labyrinth. Even with such a breakthrough, his feeble army of shadows seems like a mere drop in the ocean in the face of the abyss. The aristocrat is struck by a thought, and she realizes in horror that the ancient and terrible prophecy is about to come true. With hope in her eyes, she asks about his summoning book, because their shared fate now depends on its level. His confused response only confirms her worst fears, as he doesn't even know about the summoner's main weapon. The maid looks at him in shock, unable to believe that a summoner stands before her without his holy book. Lin Tianhao takes out his old book, unaware that this humble artifact hides incredible power within it. The Imperial swordsman looks at the book in amazement, realizing that this guy is the very genius from the ancient legends. As if by magic, another book appears in the girl's hands, and she offers it as a gift from fate. Gratefully accepting the gift, the young man realizes that this new artifact could be the key to their salvation. Following her advice, the young man prepares to unleash his hidden magic to awaken the ancient artifact. He pours all his energy into the book, and the mysterious stone on the cover begins to glow with an ominous light. The gem on the book flares, releasing a stream of pure, uncontrollable magical energy. The Imperial Guardsmen fall to their knees, pledging allegiance to the new overlord chosen by the ancient artifact. A blinding flash of light throws everyone back, leaving the guy alone at the epicenter of the magical explosion. His eyes reflect endless power as he feels the ancient magic awaken new strength within him. From the depths of his consciousness arise the images of all his loyal minions, ready to serve him to the last drop of blood. The book opens before him, promising access to all knowledge about the summoned beings that have ever walked the earth. In an instant, he gains access to complete information about all his allies, their strengths and weaknesses. He understands that this artifact is not just a book, but a key to unlimited power that can change the course of history. The young man now holds in his hands not just a book, but the key to passing any dungeon, a real forum at his fingertips. Having recovered from the shock, the newly made subjects anxiously inquire about the well-being of their master. Lin Tianhao brushes off their concerns, his mind occupied with only one thought: solving the mystery of this book. The Imperial Swordsman admits that even they do not know the whole truth, only that the artifact was created by an ancient sage. Her eyes reflect the pain of an entire generation, as she speaks of the great war that destroyed the summoner class. With bitterness in her voice, she recalls how this book became the last hope and greatest treasure for her grandfather. His entire life was dedicated to solving this mystery, and only before his death did he manage to make the stone glow faintly. The maid picks up the story, adding that it was thanks to this book that their king gained unprecedented power and glory. The old king's efforts were not in vain, and he earned eternal respect and honor for his royal house. Until the very end he searched for a worthy successor, but fate decreed otherwise, and his knowledge went with him to the grave. The death of the king was the beginning of the end. The kingdom plunged into chaos and civil wars. All their hope now rests on him, because he is the only one who can save them from total destruction. The aristocrat kneels, offering her life and loyalty in exchange for his help and patronage. The young man ironically reminds her of their recent feud, unable to believe such a sudden change in mood. She accepts his anger with humility, ready to bear any punishment for her past insolence and arrogance. The maid, in despair, tries to justify their actions, telling of years of humiliation and incompetent imposters. The guy challenges them with a grin, testing how strong their faith in his chosenness is. She declares with unshakable confidence that he is the chosen one of prophecy, the future king of their lands. Lin Tianhao can't understand why, for hundreds of years, no one has been able to touch the power of the ancient artifact. The answer turns out to be simple and cruel, since most of the applicants were bound by a primitive contract with their books. The old contract with the book is an unbreakable chain, condemning the summoner to eternal slavery until the next stage. The maid recalls with horror how their desperate attempts to break this cycle resulted only in death and pain. His ignorance and laziness turned out to be his salvation, because only one who was free from obligations could make a direct agreement with fate. The terrible truth falls upon them, because anyone who is rejected by the book without a contract is doomed to a painful death. A chilling horror pierces the young man as he realizes that he was just one step away from exploding from the inside. Broken and defeated, they kneel again, placing their lives completely in his hands. Tired of their servility, he orders them to stand up, showing that his power does not need the humiliation of others. Obediently rising, they are ready to follow him, and the girl decides to ask the main question: what is hidden in the book? A sudden inspiration dawns on the guy, and he realizes with a devilish grin what a talkative subordinate he has acquired. His gaze turns sinister as he challenges her, asking her to look into his mind and test the limits of her power. The girl is overcome with panic because she feels that this guy's mind is forbidden territory. His sinister command leaves her no choice, and bound by an oath, she is forced to look into his dark soul. Having barely touched his thoughts, she flies back with a scream, struck by an unbearable mental force. What she saw in his mind plunges her into a state of primal horror that makes her blood run cold. The faithful maid rushes to help, but even her support cannot stop the trembling of the frightened mistress. Lin Tianhao, with a devilish grin, asked what kind of future she saw in his confused thoughts. Stuttering with fear, she babbles about the coming of the Red Demon, who is destined to change this world forever. He waves it off with annoyance, because he was interested in the thoughts, and not in the retelling of his loud and pompous regalia. The maid, horrified, confirms that behind his back she saw a real red devil in the flesh. The young man just laughs, pointing to his little slime, and ridicules them for mistaking her for Satan. The ancient prophecy comes to life in her eyes, and she sees in him not just a savior, but a support for the entire kingdom. He simply brushes off her fanatical delirium, completely unaware of the dangerous game he has been drawn into. Ignoring the drama, the young man focuses on his reward, preparing to absorb the souls of the defeated monsters. His magic cube greedily draws the very essence from the fallen beast, trapping its ghostly soul within itself. Now, possessing the souls of 2 elite monsters, the boy eagerly anticipates the discovery of a new, unknown power. Suddenly, the aristocrat rushes towards him, her desperate gesture speaking of devotion louder than any words. Seized by her belief in destiny, she vows to follow him through fire and water, leaving him in complete shock. Jealousy flares up with renewed vigor, but the young lady boldly asserts her rights to him, calling her rival a commoner. The insult hits home, and Su Qing'er explodes in rage, unable to bear such humiliation. Ling Tianhao tries to separate them, and the aristocrat, with a victorious look, agrees to retreat, but only for a while. Tired of the intrigue, the young man demands that An Qingyao reveal the true reason for their risky expedition. A sudden attack from the shadows nearly ends his life, but his faithful slime companion takes the blow. An ominous laugh echoes through the gorge, and the boy realizes that they have been ambushed by a new, unknown enemy. Their longtime rival, Song Xiaoyan from the Golden Saint Lion Guild, appears on the scene, and her appearance does not bode well. The deadly archer draws her bowstring, her gaze burning with a thirst for revenge for a past humiliating defeat. She releases a deadly arrow, confident that this time luck has turned against her sworn enemy. Her devilish grin reveals her true goal. She desires the legendary crystal of the Shattered Gorge. The guy is completely confused, because this is the first time he hears about the mysterious crystal that everyone is hunting for. The aristocrat gathers her strength, her aura flaring with blue flames as she realizes their enemy is incredibly powerful. The faithful servant takes out her heavy weapons without hesitation, ready to engage in mortal combat with a formidable opponent. Bullets bounce off the archer, her body enveloped in an ominous purple aura of invulnerability. Song Xiaoyan's wild laughter echoes throughout the gorge, leaving the maid in a state of complete shock. She disdainfully shows off her obsidian bracelet, which makes her invulnerable to any physical damage. Lin Tianhao realized that the woman in front of him was no longer that weak opponent, but a real monster in human form. Gathering all her dark energy, the girl prepares to unleash her most deadly attack on them. In desperation, the maid tries to defend herself, but her tempered steel proves helpless against the flow of pure magic. A piercing cry of pain pierces the silence as a hail of magical arrows pierces her defenseless body. Everyone screams her name in horror, and her mage friend tries with all her might to cast a saving healing spell. Overcoming hellish pain, the wounded heroine thanks fate for her endurance, which saved her from certain death. The guy can't believe such a jump in power, because his faithful and strong ally was defeated with one blow. Song Xiaoyan offers them a deal with the devil, their lives in exchange for the defenseless Ling Tianhao. The enraged swordsman rushes into the attack, unable to tolerate such an impudent and humiliating offer. 2 deadly skills collide in a blinding flash, shaking the very fabric of reality. His destructive blow proves powerless against her void arrow, and he flies back, defeated and humiliated. She revels in her victory, mockingly taunting their pathetic attempts at resistance. The young man realizes that she has reached an unimaginable level of power, and asks his new ally for advice. The aristocrat is struck by a terrible realization. The only way to achieve such power is to make a deal with the devil himself. She recalls ancient legends about a dark ritual that grants unprecedented power in exchange for an immortal soul. The archer confirms their guess with a devilish grin, declaring that their knowledge will not save them from certain death. Gathering all her dark power, she prepares to deal the final blow to end them forever. A hail of deadly arrows falls upon them, leaving no chance for salvation. The young man steps forward, his aura flaring with dark flames, ready to engulf any threat. The archer realizes that this aristocratic girl is the key to victory, and she will have to use her most dangerous technique. She knows her body can only take 3 of those shots, but that should be enough to finish them off. With a devilish grin, she takes aim at him, confident that even one blow will be enough to reduce him to dust. All her rage and hatred are concentrated in one shot, which should have been their last. A deadly volley rushes towards them, but at the last moment the young lady stands in its way, ready to take the blow herself. Her body erupts in blue-violet flames and she easily deflects all the arrows, much to the archer's amazement. Gathering the reflected energy, she sends it back, unleashing her enemy's own deadly power on him. Song Xiaoyan falls to her knees, unable to believe that her most powerful attack was not only repelled, but also turned against her. The archer is in a panic and can't believe she survived after repelling her own attack. Rage distorts the aristocrat's face because this imposter dared to challenge her. After recovering from the shock, Song Xiaoyan vows that this time her main target, Ling Tianhao, will not escape alive. Suddenly, her ghostly double appears from the shadows, preparing to deliver a treacherous blow to her back. In a desperate attempt to kill him, she rushes at him with a dagger. But the guy had foreseen this treacherous move. His magic cube absorbs her soul, and she realizes with horror that her own power has turned against her. In the chaos of battle, a friend mage manages to heal a wounded servant, not believing in the miracle that happened. Suginger throws herself into his arms in relief, happy that he has once again emerged unscathed from a deadly fight. The noblewoman notes with interest that his victory only confirms his status as the chosen summoner of the prophecy. The young man looks with disdain at the helpless heiress, disappointed by her inability to parry even one blow. The aristocrat clumsily tries to justify herself, claiming that her inaction was merely a cunning plan to awaken his power. Embarrassed by her prolonged embrace, the young man jokingly asks how long she plans to cuddle him. Flushing with embarrassment, Suchinger reluctantly lets him go, but her gaze speaks volumes. The boy admires the power of the absorbed soul, but a shadow of doubt creeps into his heart. His worst fears are confirmed when he sees the cooldown timer, realizing that his new power is not unlimited. Even with the limitations, he reflects with anticipation on the power that the soul of the defeated Boar King possesses. The girl interrupts his thoughts, hurrying him to take the loot before other adventurers set their sights on it. He remembers her words and curiously asks what this mysterious second-class transformation actually means. Images of the archer flash through his mind, both her normal appearance and the demonic form she gained through the dark ritual. The aristocrat bitterly confirms that it was this transformation that gave her the strength to defeat them so easily last time. She leads them forward, promising along the way to reveal all the secrets of the second transformation, on which their lives now depend. Meanwhile, in the icy wasteland, another team begins a mysterious ritual, calling on ancient powers. A bloody magical seal rises from the snow, heralding the arrival of something ancient. The earth shakes, and something begins to rise from the bloody lake, plunging the warriors into a state of shock. A naked and defenseless figure appears from the bloody haze.